My daughter still sings, Graham McLaren.
Oh, excuse me. Good morning, Mr. Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters. In 2008, my daughter was 9 years old. Throughout the school year, she was attending a weekend camp where, among other things, the children learn to sing a lot of different songs. And my daughter loves to sing. The favorite song that she learned is the one you just caught me singing a moment ago. La 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 la. La 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 la. Now that's the women's part. It's actually a two-part song. And the men's part sounds like this. E-O, O-A-O-E. And my daughter Yarrow sang this song so often that the rest of us in the family found ourselves singing along with her without even thinking about it. It was kind of a constant in our family. She would just start singing and the rest of us would follow right in with her. Well, one spring, beautiful spring morning, like today, I don't know if some of you saw the beautiful colors in the sky, just before dawn, I woke up to the sound of it was the sound of my daughter coughing. Well, I thought, no big deal. Kids get sick all the time. We'll just see how this plays out. But after breakfast, that cough switched from being intermittent to being steady. And by the middle of the morning, that cough was non-stop. And my wife and I watched as the color was leaving our daughter's face. And she curled up and her limbs were starting to shake. That cough was so constant. We started to panic. We didn't know what else to do. So I scooped her up, I put her in the car, and we raced off to the emergency room. My daughter was immediately admitted to the hospital. They put her on oxygen, they gave her an IV, and we learned that she was experiencing a severe asthma attack. My daughter was in the hospital for 3 nights. When they released her, they gave her an inhaler, and they said, whenever you feel these symptoms start, use that inhaler. In the following days, weeks, and months, Yarrow felt those symptoms frequently, and so we always had that inhaler with us. Until one day, late in the summer, we had taken a family adventure road trip far away from home. And long after dark, we stopped at a restaurant, get a bite to eat before we did the last stretch home. We were sitting in the restaurant, the food had just been served, when my wife and I heard, Mom, Dad! My daughter could barely get one syllable out. So we moved through our bags, no inhaler. I raced out to the car and I ransacked through the car, but I could not find the inhaler anywhere. By the time I came back into the restaurant, there was Yarrow curled up in a ball on the bench in our booth, just kind of shaking, like that. So I scooped her up. We didn't know what else to do. We were far away from emergency care, so I raced outside with her and I sat down on a bench while her mom went and packed up our food, paid for the bill, went and get the car, and I just sat there. And as I heard that whistle, some of you may have heard that whistle before, coming through her throat as it closed in, my heart was just full of panic and grief for my little girl. And then I heard this song. La 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 la. And I realized it was my voice singing to my daughter. And when she heard that, she just looked up at me and she said, La! La! She tried to join in. Well, I kept singing that song. La 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 la. And she kept chiming in with me. And at first it was 1 syllable, but then it was 2. And then it was 3. And as we kept singing, she kept getting further and further until she could sing. La 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 la. And as we continued to sing through that song, I watched as her body started to relax. And the blood started to creep back up in her face, and her limbs stopped shaking. She kind of leaned into me, and when she was fully relaxed, I joined in with her with that immense part of the song. Eve, ho, oh, ah, oh, eve. And we were sitting there on the bench singing together as her mother drove up in the car. I scooped Yarrow up and I put her into the car, I strapped her in and I sat next to her and just sat there singing next to her. La 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 la. And her voice got quieter, trailed off until she fell asleep. And as I sang the last few Eve, oh, the tears were just streaming down my face. But the story doesn't end there, because the next morning, Yarrow woke up and she realized that she had a new tool to deal with her asthma symptoms. And from then on, whenever she started to feel the symptoms, she would start singing that song. And most times, she sang herself right out of those symptoms. My daughter is my hero, because she gave me the tool to help her when she needed it most. And now, 10 years later, Yarrow doesn't deal with asthma symptoms, but my daughter still sings. Mr. Condesher.